So the EXN is blue violet in tonality. We're going to use that for more extreme gray coverage. But we can use both of these to determine natural level. The NP has a little bit more yellow in it. So if I was going to determine natural level for you, for example, I probably would use the NPs because you have a little bit more yellow in your hair, okay? You do not, so I'm going to use the EXN. They're a little cooler swatched to determine what your natural level is. Level is just how dark or light a color is. So it's either black or blonde being at a level 10. And so that's what we determine. On the boxes, that's what I meant by that first number. That determines the level.
Do you know how we're gonna do it with the client? How to know the natural level? Yeah.
Yep, so Ingrid's gonna show you how we determine natural level. When you're working with a new color line, we can't expect you to know how dark or light something is and where number shapes up. If you were coming from a different color line, if you were using Wella compared to Farisi, they're not always the same. Hairstylist thinks medium's a medium, a light's a light, a dark, a dark. It's different depending on how much blue or yellow is in each level, okay? So that's why we're gonna use these swatches to determine. If you're in between two, can't decide, always choose the darkest. Because that's gonna determine what developer that you're gonna use and how light you're going to go, so choose the darkest. Okay. Who's got some roots? Anybody?
Me. Me. A tons of it.
Okay, Ingrid. When she's done looking at that, take the swatches and show her how you're going to determine, which is perfect because you're in the front, everybody can see.
So we have two options. Which one do you think I'm gonna use on her? Natural or extreme natural?
Natural.
Why?
Because her hair looks more yellow. Than babies.
Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna use this one. True to the roots.
And through the back of the crown where it tends to be a little bit darker. If you work on the front top, that's where the sun hits it the most, it's the lightest. The true dark is underneath.
So we're gonna compare on the dark. I think we can do it like here or over here. So if
She doesn't have much for roots, does she?
She have more like but it's more like a gray.
So you're only looking at the natural color when you determine natural level, not the brown you're visually looking at.
Maybe we
where
can
is
do
she
on mine here.
naturally?
Because I have a roots.
She doesn't have much roots going on.
No.
You can
Mine
barely
is raised.
see it.
So on my, so you can go right here and just see what's more similar to my natural. What do you
Just
think?
determine how light or dark she is.
With that light, that would be at least to me, right here. So I have a 4 NP.
Okay.
So what we want, just numbers. We want to just determine depth, and that's the number. So how light or dark is she?
So under these light over here, she looks a 4.
Or if I'm between two, you have to pick
Half
the
and
darker. Mm-hmm.
So if you're in between two, you're gonna choose the darker. I'm in between two, so I'm gonna choose the 3. Are you 3?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's hard, right? So I'm gonna hold it tight because when I hold it loose like this, I can't see. But she's got at least a 1/4 inch of roots. When I hold these swatches up, you wanna come up and look? They'll make it easier. All right. See between the 4 and the 5, excuse me, the 3 and the 4? See how she is a little bit darker than this 4. See right here, her root? This is darker, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
But when I take this one, is that a better match?
Yeah.
See it? What you don't want to do is choose the lighter level. Because Ingrid wants to go lighter. So if I only take her as a 4, I'm not going to use the correct developer to get her as light as she wants to be. I've got to call it a 3. And it's hard to know just looking at it unless you literally do this. Can you see how now she would be a 3 and not a 4?
Yeah.
What if somebody like wants to match with, say it's lighter down here, what if they want to match that instead of what's at their root?
Okay, so you have to determine where you're starting to then determine where you're going.
Okay.
So we're first trying to start on where am I living?
Sorry, I'm getting ahead of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is going to be where am I driving to?
Okay.
Okay. So she's a 3. We're going to call her a 3.
Perfect.
Good?
How about I have a half gray and a half black.
So it's harder when it's gray,
Yeah.
but you're always going to determine on the darkest. If I hold the swatch up to you, you're even going to be darker than a 3. You're going to be closer to a 2.
2. Oh.
But it's hard to see it when it have a
Yeah.
lot of gray.
So you always have to look at where it's darkest.
Mhm.
So I don't want to look at the gray, I want to look here. But do you see what her base is that is not gray, is darker than what her base is? So that's where I've determined she's closer to a 2 than a 3. Now, if she wants to go light, even though there's gray there, I still have to lift all that dark out to get the light she wants. So I still have to consider her a 2. If she was 100% gray, that would be different. Then I would just be putting on the color I want to see. But I would need to lighten her. And I need to lighten her too, to the level in which
So
we're
we got
going to.
the first step.
Step 1.
We know what level I am.
Yep. Now,
Step 2.
step 2.
Desire hair color.
Determine desired level. So what level, again, just numbers, how light or dark do you think she's going? Where does she want to go to?
You see how dark or how light my
And I usually like to look in the middle or the next inch or 2 next to the roots. Because the ends are always going to be the lightest because of the sun. Maybe the color wasn't run through. Maybe there's a highlight in there. But like, what are we seeing right here? Can anybody tell me what level?
Like a 6.
6 or yeah.
It's hard to tell with the lighting. Yeah.
It's hard, right?
Yeah.
More because I have a tonality.
Because she's got some red in there, so that's probably what's throwing you off.
So what color you see on my hair? You see red and orange? Because
I see more orange than
more
red.
orange. So when we are not sure, we can go to the remaining color. And if you see more orange, what level? It's a level. Oh, the underpigment orange.
Orange is a 7.
Or like it's red orange, that would be closer to a 6, right?
We can do like 7 and 6 to have a 6.5.
What we're just gonna call it a 6. What level would you call your hair, a 6 or a 7?
7.
Ah,
7, but the cool tone intense. So that's why it looks slightly more like a 6 on this line, but on intense it looks more like a 7 because
so
it's
if
darker.
we're just determining light to dark and what we're visually looking at, she's not quite as light as a 7. She's closer to a 6. See?
Yeah.
But warm, right?
But
Not
warm.
Mhm.
See? Because if you look at a 7, that's way too light. If you're looking at your hair visually for numbers, it's going to be a 6.
And more for this line.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's important to use the
Swatches.
swatch, the line you're gonna use. Like if you want to use this line, you have to use these swatches.
So you know how we have intense, we have Futura, we have all the colors. What she's saying is you're always going to use the swatches for the color line in which you're going to use. So for this, she's a 6. You can see it on her hair and on her skin. Just hold your head out for me. Just look at the group, maybe like this, straight up. Can you see it?
Mm-hmm.
See how it's a 6 and it matches with their hair. So I know that's the lightness in which I'm gonna go. Because if you look at a 7 compared to her hair, even her skin, it's a little too light, isn't it? So that's why the swatches are valuable. You don't often see people do it because people don't always use this valuable tool. Ingrid and I do. If I use a new color line, I'll pull up my swatches. It's no reflection if I don't know what I'm doing. That's a reflection of I want to get this right. Because assuming is the worst thing that you can do. Because this tells you right there. Even if you have a consultation and they want to be light, and you hold it up to their skin and they're like, no, that's too light. Usually when you work it, you can see where they fall the best in. Right? If I go dark, it's like too dark for me, but somewhere in the middle works. So it's a tool. Okay, so when you're lightening with a single process application, color will only lift 3 to 4 levels of lift. So if you start out at a 3, she can't be any lighter than a 7. Because color will only lift. If I want to go beyond that, that's when I need to double process. Make sense? Because I'm not going to get her any lighter than 4 levels of lift. So if you're a 2, you can't be any lighter than a 6. So what do you see people do? They either double process, they get stuck in orange and hate it, right? Because now they've got all this red and they're like, that's not what I wanted. Or a lot of times I like to keep them just a little bit darker and then highlight over it. So now I've got that blend, right? I haven't exposed all that warmth. I've got a nice, a brown that I can control and put some highlights over it. If you don't want to go all the way to double process. The color theory will only lift 3 to 4 levels of lift.
What volume of developer would you use? Would it be 20?
So the higher volume developer is what gives the lift, not the
Okay.
color that I choose.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll
So
talk
if
about
you
that.
are 3 and you wanna go 6, you can. But if you are 3 and you wanna go 8, you can do it without doing the double process.
By putting on that 8, it's not gonna make them lighter.
Yeah.
3 to 4 levels of lift is theory. Okay, third step, tonality. Right, is it warm or cool? Do they want warm or cool hair? The true success is to achieve predictable results is understanding red, yellow, and blue. We've talked about that and we'll continuously talk about that. We just showed you in the formulations. Fourth step, correct developer. You're gonna find these developers on your color chart. Again, reference point to everything, so you don't have to commit to memory at the beginning. We have 2 different developers that Firmisi offers. At the same time, we're gonna fill out page 6, which is your developer usage. We have Ozador, that was first before Firmisi Professional Activator. So it's a rich, creamy emulsion. All of our developers have coconut oil and castor oil in them for maximum protection of scalp.
So that's on page
6.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Mine.
Yes. So that's the consistency of Ozador. Firmisi Professional Activator, which is the latest technology, is more cream gel-like. Again, with that coconut and castor oil, which allows, reduces scalp sensitivity. You're gonna see at the salon mostly Professional Activator. The only Ozador we carry is 5 volume. We rarely use 5 volume unless we're toning, or refreshing faded ends. And that's only with 2001 or Futura. Our other lines, Eclectic Care and Intense, we don't use a 5 volume. So that's why you're not gonna see it that much or use it that much. The lower the volume, the quicker it works. The higher the volume, the longer it can stay on. It's a grave injustice and misconception that the hired developers are damaging to the hair. For me, C colors have that low 2% ammonia. Ammonia is what damages hair. So we need to always use a high enough developer to get the lightness in which we want to go to offset that low ammonia. Does that make sense? You see a lot of color lines, they use 10 volume, 10 volume, 20 volume, 20 volume. When we go lighter, we're going to use 30 and 40 volumes because we don't have the ammonia to lighten the hair. We need it in the developer. Does that make sense?
Did you say Oxidor is only available in 5?
No, we have many different colors. You're only going to see in the salon 5.
Okay, but write down all of them in here.
Yes. Can you list the answers for everybody on this, please?
So the first one is cream.
Oxidor is cream.
Yeah.